He was a man who owned the city skyline, a billionaire single father whose empire was built on concrete and steel. But inside his glass tower, a profound loneliness echoed in the empty halls of his heart. His life was a blur of meetings, deals, and acquisitions, leaving little room for anything else. Anything except for his daughter. She was his one true joy, a little girl with eyes that saw more than most adults and a heart full of a wisdom far beyond her years. He adored her, yet time was a currency he couldn't seem to afford for her. One evening, breaking his relentless schedule, he decided to treat her to a special dinner. He chose the city's most exclusive rooftop restaurant, a place where the stars seemed close enough to touch and the city lights unfolded like a carpet of diamonds below. As they entered, a hush fell over the room. Waiters scrambled to serve them, and patrons whispered, recognizing the famous billionaire. His daughter, however, seemed unfazed by the opulence. Her small hand held tightly in his, her gaze filled with a quiet curiosity. He ordered the most lavish dishes on the menu, a feast fit for a king and his princess. But he soon noticed she wasn't eating. She sat there, her food untouched, her eyes scanning the room. He leaned in, his voice soft. "Is something wrong, sweetheart? Don't you like the food?" She looked around at the other tables, at the well-dressed men and women dining in solitude or in pairs, their faces illuminated by candlelight but shadowed by an unmistakable loneliness. She turned back to him, her expression serious. "Daddy, why are all these people alone?" He chuckled nervously, unsure how to answer such a profound question from a child. He was about to offer a simple explanation when she spoke again, her voice clear and steady, cutting through the clatter of silverware and the murmur of the restaurant. "Daddy, money makes people lonely." The words hit him like a physical blow. He froze, a forkful of food halfway to his mouth. The air in the lavish restaurant suddenly felt thin and cold. This wasn't a child's random observation. It was a truth that pierced right through his carefully constructed world. Guilt, sharp and heavy, rose in his chest. He thought of all the school plays he'd missed, the bedtime stories he'd skipped, the countless times he'd canceled their plans for just one more meeting. As he struggled with his emotions, trying and failing to force a smile, she gently placed her small hand on his. "I don't want fancy dinners, Daddy," she said softly. "I just want more time with you. Not more toys or big trips, just you." He looked at her, truly looked at her, and saw nothing but pure, unconditional love. His walls crumbled. Tears welled in his eyes. He realized that in his quest to give her everything money could buy, he had failed to give her the one thing she truly wanted. Their quiet, emotional exchange didn't go unnoticed. At a nearby table, a woman discreetly wiped a tear from her eye. A businessman lowered his head, a look of profound reflection on his face. The waiter, who had been approaching their table, paused, visibly moved by the scene. The billionaire's heart felt like it was breaking and healing all at once. "You're right," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "You're so right. I'm so sorry." He pulled her into a tight embrace, burying his face in her hair. She hugged him back with all her might. As they held each other, a soft, spontaneous applause rippled through the restaurant. The manager approached, offering to cover their meal, but the father politely declined. He paid the bill and they left, hand in hand, stepping out into the crisp night air. The city lights that once represented his power now looked different, softer. He knelt down to her level, the glittering metropolis as their backdrop. From now on, he promised, we'll have family time every week, no interruptions. Just you and me. A brilliant smile lit up her face, a smile more valuable than his entire fortune. In that moment, standing on a sidewalk under the city stars, he felt richer than he ever had in his life. Rich in love? He was true to his word. The very next day, he canceled a major international business meeting, and instead, they had a simple picnic in the park. News of the billionaire's lesson, as the media dubbed it, spread like wildfire. People everywhere were touched by the little girl's wisdom and the father's humility. His employees saw a change in him, a new compassion that transformed his leadership. He launched charitable foundations for families and implemented family-friendly policies in his own companies, inspired by his daughter's simple request. Their bond grew stronger than ever. Weekends were filled with laughter, bike rides, and building forts out of blankets. These simple moments became his most treasured assets. He had learned the hard way that happiness isn't bought in a boardroom. It's built, moment by moment, with the people you love. The story of that night in the restaurant became a local legend. A reminder that the greatest wealth isn't in our bank accounts, but in our hearts. Years later, whenever his daughter, now a confident and kind leader in her own right, reminded him of that night, he would smile. He never forgot the sentence that changed his life forever. Money makes people lonely. It was the most valuable lesson he had ever learned.